It's Insta-Cash Grenada. Imagine a game with no numbers to choose from, no draws to wait on, and you can play it every day, including Sunday. That's Insta-Cash. It's fast, it's easy to play, and you win prizes instantly. Insta-Cash. Must be 18 years or older to play. NLA. Making dreams come true.
Cathwell Stationery Services Limited announces its massive blowout sale on all stationery for school and office. Get copy paper at just $18 per ream. Enjoy up to 18% off folders, cardstock, Bristol boards, ink and toner cartridges, laptops, office furniture, and more. To order now, call 442-5848 or 5747. Or call 435-3377 and get free delivery island-wide and the lowest prices nationwide. Or visit our outlet on Scott Street, St. George's, where we guarantee the lowest prices daily. Cathwell Stationery Services Limited, the reliable office supply people.
Ridealong Live, welcome to the ride. Welcome to Thursday on the ride. Yeah. Always happy to be back on the air chair. Jennifer, how you doing? Big up yourself. Ridealong Live, guys. Share the thing, guys. As you come and go ahead and share the thing, don't even ask a question. Before you say hi, share the thing, because today we're going to be talking about some very relevant and pertinent topical issues that a lot of people like to dance around. But we don't like to dance around the thing. We cut straight to the chase. So today we have two of the most powerful women in the region. Yeah, from St. Vincent to Grenada. You don't mess with those women. Yeah? We have Asheida Charles, and you know Asheida. Yeah, you know Asheida. You know Asheida very well. And of course, from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we have Adriana King. But we added some masculine flavor into it, besides myself, you know what I mean? Most masculine, but we had some more masculinity inside of the thing. So we decided to bring on my homeboy, Dwight. Yeah? So we have Asheida, we have Adriana, and we have Dwight. So, the topic that we're going to be discussing today, the range of topics that we're going to be discussing today have to do with the political or the politicization, something like that. Anyway, of everything. You know, after the election in Grenada, it seems, and a lot of people have been speaking about it, it seems like if the country split in two. It seems like if there is a green Grenada and a yellow Grenada. And they have been so much, you know, seems like what is infighting. Back and forth. But what really caused that? Some people say that it's probably the worst they've seen in decades. Yeah? Is the media responsible for that? Am I responsible for the divide, as I'm always sometimes accustomed getting accused of? So no hold bar today, guys. Tell me to my face. Right? Tell it to my face, not behind my back. I want to hear what you guys have to say. So let's bring on my guest. She is from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Again, she's a very popular name, face, and voice in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Activist. And all around very great guest to have. And she make excellent black cake, if I might say so myself.
Yay!
If you want black cake, you know where to get it. Adriana got the black cake. She got the hookup.
Yeah.
That's it right there. So she's here with us. And of course, you know her very well. Asheida Charles. She is with us. Yeah, she's no stranger to Ridealong Live. And you know Asheida, the speaker mind. Asheida don't play. Yes, she's here to speak with us on the topic. And of course, masculine energy inside the building. Let's give it up for Mr. Dwight Sampson. Sometimes I call him an hour before, but he's always there. You know Dwight. Dwight is my good friend. Dwight, how you doing?
Good night, everybody. Good night. Always a pleasure. And no, he did not call me late this time. He actually called me 9 hours before. So that's
yes, I did. I give you a heads up.
We get in.
Adriana, you know I have to call you last minute. You know how it goes sometimes. I have to tell you. Sometimes it happens like that. Actually, I get called last minute too. She shows up.
Well, one is for a good cause, you know, I'm there.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, guys. So we're speaking about this divide, political divide that we see existing in the region, right? And as I said earlier, after last election, some people said that this political climate, especially in Grenada, it is probably one of the worst they've seen in decades, right? So let me get you guys assessment on what's happening here. Let's start with Asheida. Asheida, how would you term the political climate on the island right now, from your perspective?
Thank you for having me, Junior, and good evening to the panel and, of course, your listeners and viewers. I think the political climate in Grenada is very tense and almost bitter. I wanted to say bittersweet, but what existed before compared to what's available now, it has to stay bitter. There is no sweetness that I could add to it. It's very tense and bitter. That's my assessment of it.
Okay, good. That's preliminary assessment. Oftentimes, Adriana, you speak about the political climate that exists in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but you are privy to what's happening in Grenada as well. From your perspective, you sitting in St. Vincent, what's the political climate in St. Vincent and the Grenadines as it stands right now?
Junior, the situation that we have here now, we've been experiencing for past 2-3 decades. Well, not 3, past 2 decades, and it's very volatile. I don't want to use the word wicked, but that's what it comes down to. It's just about wickedness. And what you find here in St. Vincent is that you're either red or yellow. If you're going to, let's say you're jumping in a van, people would actually decide which van they're going in based on the color of the van. It's that petty at times. If I walk down the road, like for instance, I'm wearing red glasses now, but I do not support the Unity Labour Party and their color is red. And so there will be people like, oh, you turn Labour now, you in Labour glasses. Everything that happens in St. Vincent and Grenadines is decided on whether you're red or yellow.
I see. So it's safe to say that there are no difference between what's happening in St. Vincent and the Grenadines currently and what's happening in Grenada. It's very polarized in terms of color. So it's the same thing. Why do you think, Asheida, why do you think that is happening right now? Does the media have a role to play? Are we creating this, or is the political climate made by the politician? What is causing this rift, this major rift that we're seeing right now in Grenada?
I think we, the people, are partly responsible for the climate in that we allow politics to divide us, regardless of what we believe in. Politics become the deciding factor in almost everything we do. And so I think that we are happy with the divide, to be honest. You know, you want to ensure that you stand on that green line, or you stand on that yellow line, or you don't stand at all. And so we are responsible because we continue to allow it to happen. Now, let me make sure I say this, because this is not a no thing, Junior. This has been happening for years, many, many years. Grenada, Caribou, and Petit Martinique, as a nation, we have always been politically divided, and that creates social tension, which is why we see the hostility towards each other once we know the different political affiliation. So I want to square it on us. And of course, there are different layers where the media, I believe, come in, and of course, the politicians, where they come in and how they contribute to that divide, right? Rather than creating harmony, which many would have preached on their political platforms during the political campaigns. The bottom line is what you see happened after, what continues to happen is hostility. There is no peace and love and unity, and the national anthem does not come into play. And no one could convince me otherwise because I see what I see, and that's the reality.
Okay, Dwight, you dropped out for a little bit. Now you're back. Welcome back. What are
Yeah,
your thoughts?
sorry about that.
What are your thoughts on the political climate on the island right now, from where you sit?
Well, from where I am in, everybody hear me clear, right?
Yeah.
Something with my internet tonight.
Yeah.
So I think the issue in Grenada is somewhat what St. Vincent is facing. You had a government in power for so long, and this government is ripe with nepotism, is ripe with political misbehavior in public office. It's ripe with if you speak up, you're victimized, so victimization. And you're coming out of that season to a government that is more liberal, a government who wants you to speak, a government who is willing to hear you, a government who, well, as much as appears to, a government who has town hall meetings and stuff that, which has not been the style of politics within the region ever. And I think what we're seeing today has been brewing underground somewhere for the last 2 decades. Well, for the last decade at least, decade and a half at least. And now that you have a government that will not victimize you, apparently, or stop you from speaking, everyone has suddenly found their voice. And what you find happen is that the supporters of the party who has been ousted has suddenly realized, well, we don't have power, and they have gotten accustomed to having power, haven't had that power for almost 2 decades. We don't have power. Things are being done different, and the way that things are being done seems to be resonating with the community, and so you have this separation, this divide, that they pull themselves away and oppose any and everything just for opposing sake. So I think that is the ground of that. And what is fueling this mess is the fact that the leader of the opposition, whenever he gets airway, or gets an opportunity to speak, he does not come with facts. He does not come with credible information. He comes with them say, he say, or so he was told. And that is not doing any good for what is happening, the political divide that exists. And so everything seems to be politicized, from the very littlest to the very biggest. And then you have a situation where former ministers, now opposition members, are saying, oh, this is ours, we did this, and we did that, and we did the other. And then you have the present government saying, yeah, y'all started this, but y'all didn't finish. Or y'all had this project on hold for how much years, and y'all did nothing about it. And so it's the constant bickering back and forth. And if it's happening at that level, of course it's going to trickle down to happen on the level of the voters.
Mm-hmm. The people on the ground. All right. I want to come to Adriana, but Asheida, do you find any commonality in what Dwight was saying in terms of the past governance and the present governance?
It's not whether I found commonality. I just think I totally disagree with some of the sentiments he shared, in that to say that in Grenada we now have a government that allows people to speak and people can speak freely and so on, that's not true. If you comb through social media, you'll see many people, and I understand that supporters of the opposition have their grievances because obviously they lost, and so they're humans and they probably feel in a particular way, and so they're on social media expressing their opposition to many things. And I've not seen that being welcomed by the NDC at all. Matter of fact, what I see is that some supporters of the NDC choose every time to bash people who don't agree with them. So what I've analyzed is that, okay, If you're speaking in support of us and our governance and what we're doing, continue speaking. But if you have varying opinions, if you're gonna oppose, if you're gonna contradict, then you should shut up, either because you're not intelligent enough or simply because you are an NNPI. And that's not fair. I mean, let me put in here now, let me input that was the case before the NDC formed the government. That was happening, so we've had that existing thing. But to say that we have a government now that embraces freedom of expression, whether you're opposed or not, that's not what I'm seeing from my angle.
Okay, all right. Adriana, you hear what happened in Grenada. You understand the back and forth that happening. It's green or yellow, and it's been non-stop tug of war from since election, more so now than before. Are there any similarities to what's happening in St. Vincent and the Grenadines? I know it's the red or it's the yellow. You see any commonalities in that?
I do. And I chuckled when the gentleman mentioned that when the opposition speaks, it's always about hearsay. Somebody told them this, somebody told them that. And that sounds very much like our Prime Minister here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It is always a matter of somebody telling him this. As a matter of fact, there's a running joke right now in the country where people are referring to him as a foreign operative, because in one of his recent, press something, whatever you want to call that, he was talking about these foreign operatives who come into the country and do all sorts of crime. But yet we have had no arrest, right? But it's always, he's getting this information from somewhere, from someone. So I did pick that up, and I thought that very funny. Additionally, when you look at, as I mentioned before, the color divide, it is very, very strong. I heard mention of people being able to speak freely, and then Asheida mentioned people not being able to speak freely. That too is in St. Vincent and Grenadines. And one of the things I like to always mention, Junior, is that under the previous government, the New Democratic Party, during elections, all candidates were allowed on the national radio station to campaign. If I remember correctly, it would have been an hour for each leader and about 45 minutes for every other, for the candidates under them. That was something that was stopped under the Rav Gonsalves administration. Totally stopped. So many Vincentians don't know that actually used to happen. And so that allowed for a little ease in attention, so to speak. So you didn't have this all right war, because everybody had, some sort of footing to stand and to reach the wider Vincentian society. Now everything is very limited. If you are running a newspaper and you start publishing too much from the opposition, then you get less, ads from the government. That sort of thing happens here.
Right.
And yeah.
But
And it seems as though, go ahead.
Well, here is a contrast, Asheida and Dwight and Adriana. When you speak, Asheida, when you speak about not allowing people or not affording people the opportunity to speak and people not able to speak out as much as they would, is it that from the government? Is that do you think that that's coming in from inside of the government, or just the people that support the administration? Because I know on social media, there's always this bickering back and forth, but I see a social media fight. Do you think that that is coming from administration that is telling the supporters to behave and act that way?
Of course not. Should I go? Oh,
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Asheida.
Oh, no, of course not. I am not gonna. I'm not saying that the government is solely responsible for the bashing of people who speak in opposition to what they're doing or to the governance. And it's not an issue of, okay, there is a lack of freedom of speech. That's not the case. We are in the free world with the free press and all of that. So people are allowed and are entitled to speak and give their 2 pence and their opinions on various things pertaining to governance and politics and so on. So the issue is not the absence of freedom of speech. The issue here is, you remember, you started the topic addressing the climate, the political climate. So what causes the friction within the political climate? So I'm saying part of what causes the friction within the political climate in Grenada is the fact that when people speak out against the government, as has been happening before, they are bashed. They are bashed oftentimes by the supporters on social media. I see it all the time. You see, and that is not angled or directed at the politicians per se or the government per se. You know, I'm sure they have no control of what their supporters choose to do or choose to say or choose to write. But the bottom line is that is what is creating part of the friction within the political climate in the country.
So you're saying the people, the supporters?
Yeah, remember I said we.
Yeah.
Initially I said that's it. The
Yeah.
people. We are responsible because we do it, we participate in it, we allow it, we promote it, we support it when it's done. It's something we the people are responsible for. So
Right.
I'll blame us before I blame the politicians or the government or whoever.
Right. But what Adriana is saying, from her perspective, is coming from a government side. The government, she say, if you speak out, then the government would have sanctioned your whether your publication or your media entity. They have government sanctions, which is sort of different than what's happening in Grenada.
Yeah, I don't see that happening here. But I've heard of it happening before.
Right.
Like
right.
before this administration from the government, I've heard of things like that happening. But currently, I do not know of an existing situation where the government more or less bans publications that speak out against them.
Right. Dwight, do you want to interject or come in here about what you're hearing about this difference? Because I want to narrow it down and to see what exactly is happening. Because again, Dwight, before you respond, again, we cannot control what the people on social media say. Asheida, I monitor your social media presence sometimes, and I see people bashing you like crazy. And you know how much I just get bashed. I cannot control that, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's folks who just don't like what I say or not supportive of what I do. And I don't see it as coming from a political edge. They just don't like my platform. Period.
But from my end, of course, it's political. It has always been. It's been during my activism when I supported the NDC. I got a lot of bashing from the NMP supporters. And when I addressed a particular issue I had with the NDC, I got a lot of bashing from the NDC. So the premise for the bashing I've received for speaking out or for my political activism has always been about my politics. That's what is a fact.
Okay. Okay. Dwight, you want to come in here?
Yeah, I agree with Asheida in a sense, and I don't agree in a certain sense. I think what is happening on the ground right now is the majority of the tension and the issue. And I'm not saying this because I'm a supporter of the NDC or not a supporter of the NNP. I'm saying because of what my observations are. The majority of the issues on the ground when it comes to political divide and political tenseness is from the opposition. There are several Facebook pages that have been created in the last few months, last few weeks, that purporting different things, right? And I mean, in any instance, you see it happening in St. Vincent, you see it happening in Dominica. Those are the two countries that I monitor very extensively when it comes to the political climate, and I can say you see it happen. Whenever you have a government that has hold the reins of power, they have won successive elections, maybe back to back or maybe not back to back. There's a sense of authoritativeness that comes with it. You see it with Ralph all the time. When Ralph speaks, sometimes he speaks as if, well, this is my country. I own this place. You hear it in it, and I know that the young lady from St. Vincent could agree with me. He agrees. He goes on as if this is me, this is my country. You can't tell me what to do. This is how I choose to. And you hear it just scare it in Dominica, in Grenada now, under the previous government. if it is that you said something or you went against the prime minister, you can look out for a sue. How many times have GBN been sued? How many times Grenada, well, the former Grenada today was sued? They were sued into liquidation. You've had situations like that. In this, under this present government, yes, there are supporters of the party who out there out and stunting, defending their party's good name or defending the government, and that's fine. They have a right to do so. That I don't think the government or anybody could tell them not to. But in terms of the government taking action against anybody or choosing to withhold government services from anybody because they choose to support a political party or then give somebody an opportunity because they support a particular, I have not seen or heard of that. And I'm saying I'm adding heard. I have not seen or heard of it. As a matter of fact, in some circles, as a matter of fact, just last week I believe I was reading something, a comment thread where somebody was saying that they went to a government official function and all this stuff, excuse me, was a bag of NNP. And I had to come in and say to them, but aren't NNP Grenadians too? They were shocked to hear me say that. They thought I was supporting the NNP or became a supporter of the NNP. And I had to say to them, it's not about NNP or NDC. It's about the development of the country. It's about the further development of Grenada. And I think that's where we have fallen short in seeing. All we see is NNP do this, NDC do this. NNP don't do this, NDC don't do this. And we have to move away from that conversation. We have to come to the place right now where we see Grenada, the development of Grenada. How can Grenada benefit? What can we do to help Grenada move forward? Because if we stuck in that channel, that street of NNP do this, NDC do that, NDC don't do this, NNP didn't do that, then we're not moving forward, and we will not move forward.
Yes. So, in all these instances here, and some great points, in all these instances here, who do we say need to be blamed for this? Because I say this because I oftentimes, Ridealong oftentimes get blamed. And I saw someone even put in the chat room there. And I encourage anyone who feel or have their opinion on this to please call in and let us deal with this elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is that we as media practitioners, Asheida included, you on Facebook, we hype up and build up and create this divide that exists in the country that allow for people to behave or act in those ways. We are the catalysts that create the provocation, right? Asheida, who do you think that needs to take the axe? Who do you think that needs to take the blame for this chaotic situation that we're living in right now? Is it us or is it the politicians?
I don't think it's the politicians, though I believe the politicians could try to influence unity and togetherness, but considering some of the points that Dwight made, which I think are excellent points, in terms of, okay, how do we move forward and how do we stop all this bickering and going back and forth and how do we move Grenada forward? No, that's a question I think maybe all the politicians should answer. Maybe they should write an essay as to how they think it can be done. Because uniting a nation politically, has that ever happened anywhere? I don't think so. People stand by their politics. There are people who are willing to die for their politics. And so that unity that we so desire, that we keep asking for, I don't think it's possible. Because to ask Grenadians, for example, to unite politically in the name of country, right? It's asking the majority of Grenadians who support the NNP, for example, to agree with every single thing the NDC does, right? Because we want unity. We do not want the back and forth. We don't want the bashing. We don't want the arguing. So that's what you're asking them to do. No, you have to remember, these are people who supported that particular organization, sometimes for all their lives. That's all they know. And so asking them now, okay, to stop bringing all of that out there for your party and whatever, and let us stand united for Grenada. Some people may be willing to do it, but I can't see the majority of people agreeing to put their politics aside in the name of country. The people who do it, I think they do it because some of them are opportunists, and others are probably just maybe They're just proud Grenadians. So they're willing to put their politics aside and just embrace national unity. But I think it's a far-fetched idea to be realized, to be honest.
Adriana, who is the catalyst, or what is the catalyst for the climate in St. Vincent and the Grenadines? Is it you and folks like you on the media pounding the table all the time, protesting in front of Parliament? Sorry, hold on. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm saying I hope not. I hope that we're bringing, people like me are bringing some sort of balance and an enlightenment that is needed at this time. Now, to go back on the last question you asked, I just want to mention something here. Now, we have a prime minister in St. Vincent and Grenadines, Ralph Gonsalves, and it seems like Dwight knows him quite well. Now, he has mounted a political platform and said plainly to Vincentians that if you oppose my policies, I will come for you and I will come for your family. Plain as day. His son, Camilo Gonsalves, also a member of parliament here, went on another political platform during campaign season, and his his response to those who oppose the government, those who support the opposition, was to play that song from Busy, is it Busy Signal? One phone call, that's all it takes to make a man,
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
Right. That was his message to people who oppose his party. Now, when you have a prime minister and you have his son, who is Minister of Finance, going on platforms and saying this to Vincentians, that if you stand against, note he did not say the government's policy, my policy. I am coming for you, and not just you, I'm coming for your family. And so, in relation to me and my family, he refers to us as the kings. And everything for him is about the kings. And we're a serious target for him in this country. But we're here and we're still standing. Now, Asheida has a stance that I find quite interesting, especially when I apply to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Now, I put most of the blame on our government, because government creates policy. Policy would then dictate things such as your education system, what you focus on, what you're teaching those people who are in that system. It would also dictate things such as community organizations. Before this government, we had over 150 community organizations. Now we have maybe 3 or 4. That's it. And government would also decide on the things that affect poverty. When you have an impoverished country, and our prime minister has said plainly that we are living in extreme poverty. When you have people living in extreme poverty, and you have a minister of social welfare, whatever you call himself, standing to say that by 2025, they would have 10,000 Vincentians on poor relief. 10,000. We have a population of about 106,000. When he makes brag that they're going to put 10,000 Vincentians on poor relief, who do you think those people are going to be grateful for everything that goes into their mouth? The government. And so it engenders, it creates tribalism. And the prime minister would often, as a matter of fact, there's a thing that his son said once, where he said, if you qualify, note my words, if you qualify for a national scholarship, don't be afraid to go and knock on the comrade's door. Now, if I qualify for a national scholarship, why do I have to go and beg? Why isn't there a system in place where I simply apply, and whatever, I'm entitled? I don't like to use the word entitled, but whatever should be mine would be mine. Why do I need to go and knock on the comrade's door? But that is the society we have here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, where poor people generally feel, and mind you, they're in the majority because, as the Prime Minister says, we live in extreme poverty. They feel as though nothing happens or nothing would happen for them unless they go and they shout labor.
I see.
Yeah.
So are you saying that there is a segment of the population that's considered poor and vulnerable that
Yes.
feels like they need to
And
be
they prey on them. They
right?
prey on them.
It's
Our education system, we don't even teach civics per se. So that if you were to ask the average Vincentian child, just walk down and ask 2, 3 children, what's on our coat of arms? They can't tell you. What's our national motto? They can't tell you these things.
so the government you're saying have strategic plans in place to keep people poor. That's what you're saying.
I do believe so. I do believe so.
Is there any similarities? Do you think the Grenadian Asheida or Dwight any similarities at what Adriana is speaking about in St. Vincent and the Grenadines? Dwight, you want to take a smack at it? Dwight, we can't hear you. Dwight, no, we can't hear you at all. Probably the other device was working better, but the audio is no good. Asheida, how about you? Any similarities? Anything familiar or similar with what you're seeing?
But with what I've
What
seen,
you
I
said?
don't want to comment more so on the governance currently because I don't think it would be fair, like it would be fair play in
Right.
that, the previous administration had made what 23 plus years, and this government is almost 3 years old. But I have seen some of what Adriana addressed. I have seen that happen here, the nepotism, the victimization. And if you speak to certain people, they'll tell you that it's existing now in that only supporters of the NDC, for example, are being given contracts or they're getting jobs or they're the ones getting scholarships. I cannot confirm that, but I know firsthand as a result of the victimization that I've received at the hands of the NNP, I could tell you that if they know, and that's from experience, so if you are known to not support the NNP, then certain opportunities would not be given to you. I've applied from the age of 17 when I applied for the Imani program. I think it had just came on stream at the time, and it doesn't matter where I went for an interview, I just wasn't given an opportunity. And then I had to speak to one of the supervisors of the program, and she confirmed that it is not your politics, it's your mother's politics. So that's how deep rooted the victimization at that particular time has been. So I think this is a shared commonality throughout the Caribbean, I must say, because we are so small in terms of numbers, it's easy to know, okay, this household is an NDC household, this household is an NNP, and so on. And so you are branded and treated accordingly. I cannot say for certain that this administration, the current government is using the same strategy in terms of marginalizing the people who do not support them, but I know for sure it existed before because it happened to me. So this is personal experience.
Right. Okay, Dwight. I think we were hearing you now. Try again.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So I was going to say that Adriana, that's one of the things that drew me to the politics in St. Vincent, because the similarities of the politics. I believe the same political meanderism that's happening in St. Vincent happens in Grenada, happens in Dominica, happens in most of the OACS countries. That politics of poor and vulnerabilism, it's chronic, and you find it from those politicians that come up from the 80s and 90s. A lot of those politicians, under the previous government, you were given so much, but you were not given enough. And the so much you were given was maybe a debushing job. You were probably given something under the faith organization, maybe a school security, something. But you were given so much, but just enough to take you off from dependency on the state, but not enough to make you totally self-dependent. throughout the length and breadth of Grenada, throughout the length and breadth of St. Vincent, there are hundreds of acres of land that you could have given to people and say, hey, go farm that land there. And whatever you make, that's for you and your family. Instead of doing that, as a matter of fact, in St. Vincent, Ralph actually dig up a whole set of agricultural land. Say he put in a Sanders Hotel, madness. Absolute madness. You see it happen in Grenada, in Manhattan. Absolute madness. And so you find the politics being where this poor and vulnerable mechanism. And if you look, and Asheida could bear me out on this, if you look, the opposition goes in parliament, and almost every single sitting of parliament, the opposition member, the next I talk about poor and vulnerable. They keep talking about the little money that was taken off the seed program when they knew for a fact that, and evidence has been proven, they knew for a fact that the money was expiring, but they're ponging it because they want the so-called poor and vulnerable, I hate that term, but that passion, to be riled up against the government because they're wicked and they take away with little money and this and that, the other. Instead of you empower the people. Now, Grenada, like the OECS, and I've asked that question some time ago, how many Grenadians gone to Morocco to study? How many Grenadians have gone to India to study? India leads the way in terms of ICT, cyber crimes and those kind of stuff. And the OECS, not Grenada, the OECS have those scholarships available to every single OECS member, every single one of them. But has the Ministry of Education advertised them? Has the National Training Agency advertised them? I'm talking about under the previous government. I'm seeing a little bit happening now. Now, if you do not know to check the OECS page for those kind of information, you will not know. You will not know. Mm-hmm. I've asked a question in St. Vincent. I've asked a question in Grenada. I've asked a question in Dominica. Which one of these governments have come up with an adult literacy program to help grown people who have difficulties reading, writing, and so on? How much of these people? Mm-hmm. Oh my good Lord, we have not done anything. Because guess what? If we have them poor and vulnerable, at the next election, we can tell them about oil and gas. We can tell them about a hotel that's going to hire hundreds of thousands of people. And when these hotels then come, what we getting? The cleaning job, the yardman job, the pool cleaning job, the waiter job, the job that pay next to nothing. Right. Those are the jobs that we get. We don't get the managers. Hi, baby. We don't get the manager jobs. We don't get the executive jobs. No, these jobs are given out to people who come in. And these hotels get duty-free concessions. Duty-free concessions to bring in what the hell what they want into our country. And they go away with the money. And guess what? At the next election, we hear about another hotel. We hear about Argyle was billing for how many years Argyle was billing for? 15 years? No, we billing. No, right. I was just about 15 years Argyle was billing for. No, we have a port that will last another 10 years. Every single, and I'm finishing with this point, Junior, every single election in Dominica for the last 5 elections, where I'm talking about an international airport, not one stone has been turned. We need to understand this is the foundation by which a lot of these governments of nepotism, manipulation, all of these things are happening because they prey on the people that are poor and vulnerable, but they give them just enough so that they can become not dependent on the state, but not total, so that they can become self-dependent.
Adriana.
Junior, I am listening to Dwight and I'm thinking, where was he all this time? Because I feel as though I am listening to someone speak about St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Thank you for this program. I did not realize that we had so much in common. Now, Dwight talked about the what do you call it? The debushing. That's what you call your program in Grenada, debushing.
Oh, yes, debushing.
St. Vincent, yes. We call it road walk. That's what we call it. And at like around now, you see people posting stuff on Facebook when the road walk going start, when they go in and start. And this is what Vincentians are looking forward to, road walk. You get it before September, you get it before Christmas in December. You get this road walk. And you talked about agriculture. One of the things that we've been harping on forever, and this guy Biggs, another one who's been victimized by the government here, he made a post this morning talking about agriculture and the fact that I think was one of our ministers, he said, made some silly remark about agriculture. And our past administration, the past government, NDP government, actually bought lands and divided those lands and gave them away to poor people to start farming so that they could get independent, so that they become empowered. And when you look at that and you look at what is happening now, you mentioned these people coming in. We had Reno coming in from St. Lucian. Reno came to do quarrying. And now Reno is exporting coconut and Reno is going into vegetables and all sorts of things. And Vincent is just there looking on. Mind you, this man has concession on every single thing that he brings into this country and possibly whatever it is that he exports. So again, as you will see, the money doesn't stay here. So you keep a poor because the poorer they are, easier they are to manipulate, the easier to control. And control is not just about the mind and the thinking. And again, all of these help to push the tribalism. Because if I don't get this from you, then I am nothing. And so when they go out on the road walk, you see them with all of their labor bands, and you see them in their labor t-shirts, and you see them with their labor knapsacks, because down to that becomes a matter of tribalism. Road walk.
So, Asheida, is it wrong for media personalities, media practitioners? I ain't gonna call you a journalist because you're not a journalist. I'm certainly not a journalist either. We are talk show hosts. We are vloggers at best, right? Or me in particular. But is it political when we outline these things, when we come out and say this is wrong and give our personal or own opinion on these things? Is it wrong for us to come out and speak out strongly and firmly on these things, especially the poor and vulnerable and all these things that we're seeing happening?
I don't think it's wrong, Junior. I think we have an obligation. If you stand on truth and you want to see things change in your country, you call things out on whichever platform you're on. So I don't think it's wrong at all. I think more people should do it, by the way, because that's how we get things to turn around.
Hold on, Asheida, I think you lost your audio.
Can you hear me better?
Yeah, I'm hearing you better now.
Okay, I wanted to add, Junior, here regarding to what both leaders shared.
Yes.
We have to factor in political loyalty because we have to be fair regarding the poor and the vulnerable and who is wearing, the party bands when they get their roadwalk. Just think about it. Let's be fair. Now, people cannot bite the hands that feed them, or else there'll be no food on the plate. And so I see people who are loyal to the NNP, for example. They were the ones who constantly worked on the road. They were the ones who got all the big jobs, whether they're qualified or competent or not, simply because it shows their loyalty. They showed their loyalty to the government, at the time. And I'm seeing the same thing now. And so I think we should be fair. When we look at people, and the way in which we know their minds are wired, as are ours, we ought to accept that people are loyal to who gives them whatever they think they want or what they deserve. And so when people support politicians who sometimes aren't doing good for the country, but if that politician is doing good for them, like that person, then that's where they're going to support. And so I've opened my mind to see that. Some people don't look at the good of their country at all in anything. A lot of people are very selfish. So it's what I can get from myself, what I can get from my family, whether this government is good in terms of ethically or so, whether this government is good for the country or not, no one cares. Once I am getting what I think I want or what I deserve based on my political loyalty to that particular political organization, then I'm fine. So we should factor in political loyalty when we are talking about, what people get from the government and what they have to do to get it and that kind of thing. Just saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me put it in here, guys. I want you guys to join this conversation because we're talking about the media and the role that the media is playing and continue to play in this political divide. Is it our fault? Is it Ridealong fault? Is it Asheida Charles fault? Is it Adriana's fault that there is a rift, a divide between in the country? Or who need to take the blame for that, right? Now, oftentimes, guys, I get criticized. I get criticized for things that I might say, right? Or position that I might take, or guests that I have on the program, right? And I want to say this very, 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 very clearly here, guys. I, as a media platform, I really don't care who is is sitting in the leadership of the country. Now, in the previous administration, I remember when I was being criticized, or this platform was being criticized as supporters of this former administration. After the election, it seemed like the whole focus turned. Now I'm supporting this particular administration. And because of that, no person, no individual, no representative from the former administration even take on the opportunity to come and sit on this platform, even when we call them to do so. So oftentimes, I may say, okay, let's have a debate, let's have a conversation. I would call a member from the NNP and a member from the NDC, but no person from the NNP will show up. So what we face with is folks like Dwight, who is supporters of the NDC. Oftentimes, I call other people to come in, and they just don't come. So I agree, it looks one-sided. But I would love to have an impartial debate. Let's hear both sides. But that doesn't exist because that divide is there, and people from the NNP only watch NNP program, or what they perceive to be NNP program. People that from the NDC only watch NDC program, or what they perceive to be NDC. And then there is this total breakdown in communication because half the population ain't talking to half the population. And that is where the problem is. How could we fix that? Because it's damaging. We can't transform half the population. How could we fix that? Where do we start?
I think you're asking a very good question. You know, I actually started and I thought I asked myself this question. And the question actually came about. I was having a conversation with a business owner that called me up the other day to ask me. I actually sent in an application. And the businessman, the owner of the actual owner of the business, I don't know if it's the owner or manager, but somebody called me and said to me, why are you applying to my business? That's why I thought it was the owner. And I said to myself, what do you mean? And the person said, but ain't your government in power? So how you know no big job? So I said to myself, I said, what? I said, so because my government, quote unquote, is in power, I'm entitled to get some big job? Even if I'm not qualified for the big job? Even if, and the person said, what qualification you need? Your government is in power. And I said to the person, I said, I am not one who believes that because I support a political party, that political party has to hand me something. I'm not that type of person. While it may be a good thing, I'm not saying that. If I was offered something, maybe I would have accepted based on what it was. But I think we have been cultured. This is the problem. We have been cultured to believe that I support this party, so this party had to do something for me. Not for the country, not for my future generations, not to improve the standard of living so that my standard of living could improve, not to work and fix the economy so that I can be able to provide for my children and still be able to pay my bill and still have something in my pocket that I can take my children to the Rick's Cafe or take my children to Tong and buy them something. The people don't look at that. They look at what can that government that, and I think this is what we have in culture. It's a culture in Antigua, it's a culture in St. Kitts, it's a culture in St. Lucia, Dominica, right down the island. And I'm saying this because I don't want it to feel like it's a Grenadian issue. It's a general Caribbean-wide issue. Right. How we can deal with that issue, I have the slightest idea. And the reason why, because the thing about it is, you may be able to get a man to change his doings, but to get a man to change his mind, that's a very hard thing to do. Even in terms of religion, there are people who believe that churches, pastors, are hustlers. they just want to take. And as a result of that, people genuinely don't trust them. And it takes a whole paradigm shift to get people to change their mind. You know, and I'm saying what the government can do in terms of helping to deal with that problem is to make the system so transparent that everybody gets an opportunity, regardless of who you're supporting. But how to do that is the problem, because if I am representative of a particular constituency and I decide I will help this house, and everybody in the constituency know that this house is a supporter of the NNP, I will get bashed. Because they will say, my supporters, my diehard cohort supporters will say, but we need that, because there will always be a need. They need a drain fix, they need a house built, they need a post straightened, there will always be a need. So they will say, oh, you're leaving my drain to fix, and go and help this house up there who don't support you to fix their drain when mine is done. And this is the problem I believe that a lot of politicians find themselves in, and that is difficult. That's a difficulty. But I believe if we come holistically as a government, and understand that the party was election, the government is after election, and work together, pull all our resources together, then we'll get the job done. And nobody has to complain about who drained or fix and who drained fix.
Right. I want Asheida to comment on that a bit. But as Carissa Patty is saying, Junior, it starts with you. I want to know how it starts with me. I really would like for her or anyone for that matter to call me live on the program. Let me put a number up on the screen. Dwight, you have to go. I see. Yes, Dwight, you have to go. Dwight, yes. Thank you, Dwight. We appreciate you.
Let's keep in touch, Dwight.
Yes, we appreciate your input.
Yes,
Dwight.
find me on Facebook, Dwight Sampson. Take care.
I'll share the contacts. I'll share the contacts. No problem. Right. So I want for Carissa or anybody for that matter to call me up and explain how it starts with me. Or does it start with Asheida? Is it Asheida's responsibility? Or is it Adriana's responsibility? How does it start with me? Who does it start with, Asheida? From your perspective, who does it start with?
I do understand where the person who commented that it starts with you, I do understand where she's coming from, because I must say, and I am a very straight up person, I consider myself to be a straight up person. Sometimes your content is tailored in the direction of the government. Right. And so your program, Ridealong Live, is one of the most watched live program on Monday through Friday. You know that. The statistics show that.
Right.
And so the people who consume your content are not only the supporters of the NDC. And so you have to understand that if people who have no political affiliation, for example, or supporters of the NNP were to go to visit your page and they see that 90% or 95% of your content is tailored directly to the NDC, then they'll label you an NDC supporter, and they may see that you're a biased host. You see, right. and it happens if we just channel over to mainstream media as well. There was a point in time during my activism where I felt that mainstream media was focused solely on the government at the time, obviously the NNP administration. And I thought the narratives and their journalistic practices were solely in that direction. You see, and so I remember talking about that constantly, the biasness in the media, and that has been existing for a very long time. Some people ask as if this is brand new. It's not. The biasness has always existed in our media.
Let me say this. Ridealong Live is one of the most diverse programs on social media. And Ridealong Live, different from any other platform, always give both sides of a story, whether it be political or what. There is no...
Always try. Maybe you should say always try.
Right.
Because I've watched two videos.
Let me qualify. Let me qualify. One, if you look at a parliament sitting, what you would see on Ridealong, you would see in their own words from this particular individual, this particular politician, and in their own words from that particular politician. Unedited, unskewed, nothing. Which other platform would give airing to both sides other than Ridealong? That's one.
No, you're right. You're right.
Two, oftentimes, people don't understand what goes on in the background. I would call members of the new national party and I'm putting them on blast, and I could show you a screenshot of conversation that I've had with them. They would read my message to come on and they would just ignore me. What am I supposed to do? What is Ridealong supposed to do? Close up shop and say, you know what? We're not doing programs anymore because NDC members, NNP members choose not to come on the program. So when you have that, you will find it skewed. You would find it skewed towards NDC because I could call Andy Williams and he would say, okay, sure, come on. So what am I supposed to say? You know what, Andy, someone from the NNP don't want to come, so I'm not going to host you on the program. It will be skewed. It will be skewed.
Right. So you have to, so now that you've laid the facts, right? And you admit that it will be skewed, then you understand why people would think that it's biased because there isn't representation from the other side to create balance, you see?
Right. During the election, and I don't want to leave out my good friend Adriana, but I have to say this because I get this all the time. During the election, ask any member from the new national party how much ads they pay to run and Ridealong platform. $0. They never spent any money on my platform to advertise. The NDC, however, they spend money, so you are seeing their ads. Then people saying, oh, your program is all about NDC. What the hell do you expect from me? Am I supposed to go and take money from the pocket and put it into my account just so I could run the ad? No. And I'm telling them, if a number of them did, in fact, run ads and Ridealong, because there are a lot of people who watch the program, not only from Grenada, but from around the world, and NDC supporters and NNP supporters watch it. If they had only run some ads, probably, I'm not saying that it would have been, but it probably would have been a different circumstance in some areas. Because I purposely call politicians and say, listen, come on, let me do an interview with you. They blanked me up to today. Some of them don't even talk to me today. So what am I supposed to do? The media could only do what the media could do, and we cannot do more than that. I cannot yank. Let me tell you something, and I want to get off the topic because it's not about me, it's about talking about the general sense. Evelyn Pierre canceled a program on Ridealong 5 minutes before she was supposed to come on the program. 5 minutes before she was supposed to come on the program. Just blank. Nothing. No reason. What am I supposed to do? And more, I would call the people, they would never come. So that's why it is skewed. That's why it would always be skewed. But between me and everybody else, I'm a Grenadian. Because for all the support and assistance that we give, there is never no litmus test. People would call and they say they need assistance, they need help, they need money. I tell my producer, send them the money. We never ask anybody what party they're associated with or what party they support, nothing. If someone needs money, they get assistance if we have it. But don't blame us because the platform it look like if we have more supporters than this and than the other. I had to say this. It's no bias. I don't care, really and truly, who sits at governance in Grenada. I had to say this. But Adriana, do you get a lot of times criticized for the content that you carry on your platform?
Well, certainly. Because in recent years, most of what I would push benefits the opposition. And that's how I put it. It benefits the opposition. I'm not a spokesperson for the opposition. I speak from a place of love for my country and for my fellow Vincentians. And what I see happening right now, I couldn't just sit by and allow all that's happening to just unfold. I felt like somebody needed to step in and be a balance. And so when I started my advocacy, it wasn't with any political party in mind, but eventually what I started pushing ended up being in line with the opposition that we have here right now. And that's just basically how it started. So yes, I would get licks left, right, and center. As I mentioned before, I have been, or not have been, I am a target of the government because of the fact that I speak out. And I would say that boldly because when you hear of the cases that are against me, when you hear of the number of times that I've been arrested and imprisoned, you know it is just bogus.
Yes.
Like, for instance, there's one charge that has been on since around 2020, 2021, I think it is. Can't keep track. Where initially I was charged with blocking the Prime Minister from going into Parliament. Like, how bogus could this be? But, people come at me, government comes at me, police, everybody. But I figure that at the end of the day, as Asheida pointed out, once you're standing on integrity and you're speaking truth, speak.
Yeah, yeah. Ashida, do you find it's harder for media personalities in particular to stand alone than media personalities that don't live in Grenada? Do you think it makes a difference where you live, or where you reside, or where you stay, in terms of your ability to speak out or just shut up?
Yeah, I do think so. For you, I always see, because your platform is independent, I believe, of any sort of government backing or support, right? And you live overseas. And so for you, you have that, it's more than freedom of speech. You know, you are in a position where chances are you may not be victimized for some of the things you say or some of the sentiments you choose to share. Now, when you live here and you have to depend on the government for almost everything, then attacking the attack you'll face is easier. Then it's easier to attack people who speak out based on where they live. I do think so. Now, for the media, people who stand alone, for example, I can't think of a person now in Grenada who does their own thing, like speaking truth and standing firm on truth that's not affiliated then to either the government or to any sort of media organization. Because you see, we have to consider the agenda setting theory, which applies in media studies. And some people know, based on who they're affiliated with or where they work, they have an agenda to satisfy. And so oftentimes you find the truth is distorted simply because of the agenda that has been set by that particular organization, media organization.
Right.
And so sometimes there may be an employee, let's say a journalist or a reporter, who wants to deliver, let's say, an unbiased news story.
Right.
But because of the agenda
Yes.
that is anchored at that media outlet, which that reporter is attached to, he or she has to pull back truth
Yes.
and brings distorted information that aligns with the agenda of the media organization. And so it's a ticklish situation to be in, because standing alone sometimes puts you in a very difficult position when you don't have that support. But sometimes having that support now limits how much you could do and how much truth you could share.
True. You have a very good point there. And you see, the difference is, and again, I like that we're having this conversation. I love, because I think we could talk about a lot of things that's happening and been said. The difference is, with this platform, with Ridealong in particular, government don't pay us. We make money based on bringing out great programs. So if I have a really engaging story, Facebook pays me. I get a check from Facebook every month, right? Have nothing to do with government. So if there is a hot topic that is against the government, existing government, it's incumbent on me to bring it, because that's how I get paid. Government don't pay me. Now, if government choose to advertise with me, that's gravy. Okay, that's nice. But that's not a reliance. We don't rely on government, any government for that matter, to foot our check. That puts us in a different situation. So being independent, as how we are, we capitalize on the fact that we get monetary compensation, monetary compensation through the platform that we are on. Not any government. We don't sit and knock jars. If government choose to pay us to come in to cover our event, sure. That's gravy. Other than that, we still would survive. We still would have light. We still would eat. We still would be able to drink. So that's the big difference in terms of being independent where we are. Now, media bias is another big thing. Do we see a lot of that in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Miss King? Media bias.
Um, okay. In St. Vincent and Grenadines, Junior, we have a few radio stations that push propaganda. And then, of course, there's one particular station that pushes the agenda of the opposition. Now, you'd also find in terms of print media, some, you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay, some papers are labeled as, pushing the government, some are labeled as pushing the opposition. But I'll tell you this much, something is happening here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines that I like. And it's this: more and more, our radio stations, our radio personalities, the ones who, are listened to most, have been engaging in political discussions, and not just party political, but all sorts of political discussions. And I like it
Right.
because it is bringing something different to what we had years gone. And so you find now people are becoming a little bit more enlightened. They're questioning things more. And as a teacher, as an educator, I love to see that. I love to see people get information because, as you know, media is often referred to as, the fourth estate, the fourth power. And in its purest sense, media is only supposed to give information, not necessarily give opinions. And what is happening now, they're going closer to that. So, for instance, the government might come out and say, all right, like for instance, we're always talking about building a hospital, right? A new hospital. And so the government might come out and say, okay, we're going to start building this hospital in 2024. And on any given morning after that, you would tune into radio and the discussion would be, but remember they said this in, the last campaign. Remember we got money for this 10 years ago. Where did that money go? And so people asking the pertinent questions now. And so for me, media in St. Vincent and Grenadines seems to be transforming into an agent of debate, an agent of information, an agent of critical thinking.
That's great. That's great. That's great. Now, I want to jump on, and Asheida, I would like your point of view on this. Recently, there was a major discussion on the topic of the jet bridge that was just set up there in Grenada. For years, since the opening of the airport back in '83, I believe, there were no jet bridge. So oftentimes, people would have to come out and walk through and go through, which is the same thing that they do in Barbados for years. Barbados don't have a jet bridge. However, a jet bridge was just installed or started to get installed in the Maurice Bishop International Airport. Thanks to the folks in St. Vincent, you guys have two, but we just getting one at this point. So we posted a picture of the jet bridge being set up, and that sparked major conversation, right? First, I saw that we are being very biased because we did not give sufficient credit to the New National Party, right? Asheida, okay, I have a call coming in. Let me put that call on hold because I think that person is an interesting person to have on the program. So caller, hold on. So there was a major debate as to why didn't we give credit to the New National Party in relation to posting that picture on the jet bridge. Asheida, if in that particular conversation, is it right, or should we give credit, or was not sufficient credit given to the New National Party in regards to the jet bridge that is being set up at the Maurice Bishop International Airport? Sorry.
As in the media, as in Ridealong? We as in the media, as in Ridealong?
Well, I know how I got attacked. And I saw, after I saw the former minister went on and she posted it, and there was a big talk about the credit not given, sufficient credit not given, or whatever. So you can speak from a general context.
Okay. Here is my point on that, and I've shared that on my page constantly. I do not believe in giving politicians credit for doing their jobs. That's my position, regardless to which side. You
Hold
are
on.
voting. Yeah. So thank you. So
Definitely,
Damn
yeah.
definitely.
right. Damn
You were
right.
you were elected. You were elected. Green, yellow, blue, black, it doesn't matter to me. You were elected, right, to do a job, to fulfill a mandate in the interest of the nation's people.
Yes.
And so I am never want to credit whether it's Jet Bridge, Cloud Bridge, whatever bridge. There'll be no credit from my standpoint. You see, Junior, I've never heard a Grenadian politician, for example, say, okay, I stand here opening this road today, and I would like to give credit to the former politician who made it possible. It has never happened on both sides, based on my recollection. And so my thing is, right, if something has no unfolded, like the Jet Bridge, for example, it's the government's responsibility no to do that. So even if it was in the pipeline before, it's the government responsibility to do that. And so I will not even give the current government kudos for that. They're doing their job
They're doing their
in the
job.
interest of the people of Grenada,
Exactly.
Caribbean, Petit Martinique. So when
Exactly.
they do things like they improve healthcare, that's your job. That's what you are elected to do. You see, the thing with politicians is they like credit when, let's say, good things are happening. But when it comes to taking responsibility for abusing things in their public offices, they shy away. And sometimes the media, which is where you come in, Junior,
Yes.
sometimes you guys help them shy away from taking responsibility. But for good, they
Mhm.
love the praises, kudos to them, okay, applauses. But when it comes to accepting responsibility for wrongdoing, I've never seen a politician do that yet. And it is for that reason as well that I do not believe in giving credit to politicians for doing their job. That's my position on it.
Exactly, precisely. I couldn't said it better myself. And I even said it like that in a vlog. Now, if the former administration negotiated to have a jet bridge, that was your responsibility to do. And during that period, God heaven's sake, you got paid to do it. You didn't do it for free. You got paid. You were working. All right. So nobody should get credit for this. Grenada, the taxpayers paid for this. The acquisition of it was paid by the taxpayers. It wasn't NNP money, and it's not NDC money. It's the taxpayers who paid for this. No credit for no government incoming, outgoing, or before, and there should be no special credit for this and JetBridge. It was a BS conversation, and I'm surprised that a lot of people didn't take the same position that you took on this. But I have a call on the line. Let me take this call. Caller, you live? Hello? Hello?
Hello. Hello.
Hey, sir. I hope you're calling for the show because we're live.
I'm actually returning a call from you this morning, but I'm hearing the subject and
Hold on, your phone hold on, your phone breaking up badly. Say it again.
Are you hearing me now?
Go again, speak.
Are you hearing me now?
No. Try calling back. Call back. We're not hearing you. I wanted that caller to come on. Yes. Adriana, jump on this a bit. Should credit be given to the... Hold on. Don't answer yet. Let me take this call. Let me take this other call. Caller, live. Where are you calling us from? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, okay. Load on your background, caller. Lower your background all the way down.
Yeah, it's right down already.
Okay, go ahead, caller.
Yeah, I was calling about this jet bridge situation.
Yes.
I saw a little of it last week on your show.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm saying is this: it's not only about the jet bridge. I noticed it's a habit of the NNP to say we started this with the hospital. Clarice Modeste said the same thing. The other day in the Senate, not the Senate, you know what you're talking about, the upper house.
Yes.
the young
The law
guy,
house, yeah.
yeah, he was saying, "Oh, we had a pregnant treasury." People have to realize that when these monies are used and spent, it is not about NDC or NNP,
Right.
because it's 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 the people's money.
Yes.
Number one, and they have to realize that government is a continuum. So looking for praise and gratification it makes us look ridiculous to the world, because it's not who started the foundation of the house, it's who finished the house. Because if I put some concrete on the ground and left it there, and someone come and build the house, who has to be given credit? Not that it should be, but in retrospect, who has to be given credit for the house? I may start 100 meter and start out in front, but you may come and win the race. Should I get the credit because I started out in front? And this is the thing that makes us look bad, because in the diaspora, when people see these things and you have grown children, they ask questions.
Yes.
Why
Well,
they think this
I would
way?
have put that situation in a different way. I see it like this. I see it like a relay. So you have four people on a relay running a race, right? And they run the
Yep.
relay and the team won the race. Who gets the credit? Is it the person who started or the person who ended it? The whole
The person,
team. The whole team.
the
And
whole
the
team
team
gets it.
in this case here is Grenada. That's the team. That is the country.
is.
That is. So that's how we have to look at it, right? And as I said before, if anyone needs to get credit for it, it's credit to the people who built the airport in the first place. Their perception back there was that, yes, there would be a jet bridge. There's no airport around the world that don't have a jet bridge, besides Barbados and some others. But point well taken, caller. We appreciate you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Adriana, in regards to giving credit for projects, knowing fully well that government is a continuum, the thing is just like running a relay. You pass the baton and the next person take on and they finish it, right? Do you think that is right to even request or expect the nation to salute not the government but a party for projects that was implemented during their reign?
Not at all. I fully agree with Asheida. I do not believe that governments should be given credit for simply doing their jobs. Now, we have a situation where, okay, as the caller just said, and as you expressed, it's about a continuum. Things are going to continue. Now, one of the things that our government harps on all the time is the education revolution. And Vincentians are convinced that this was something that Ralph Gonsalves came up with, and it went. Now, the OECS came up with an education sector reform plan. Grenada adopted it, St. Vincent and Grenadines adopted it, and each country dubbed it, whatever they felt like dubbing it. Now, this document or this agreement was signed by the New Democratic Party. The Ralph Gonsalves administration came in and simply continued what should have been, or what would have been, let me put it that way. So the agreement was signed, things were to be put in place, and so obviously the next government that came along would do just that, put certain things in place. Now, sadly, we have a situation where the horse was put, as they say, what? The carriage was put before the horse. We have that sort of situation here, but we're living with it. But the gist of it is simply this. Yes, as a government comes on stream, there are things that they're going to do. If it is 2023 and you gave out, say, your government, when I say you, I mean government, gave out 10 scholarships in 1982, I do not expect that in 2023 you'll be giving out 10 scholarships. There must be an increase. And there
Right.
must be also greater opportunities in terms of the fields to study and the countries in which citizens could study. Natural progression. If in 1985 you had 10 primary schools and a population of 700. I do not expect that in 2023, when your population is 4,000, you would still have that amount of primary schools. Things will progress.
Yes.
It is expected. Your road networks would increase.
Yes.
Your focus in terms of development and priority areas of your country would differ. In
Yes.
1979, 85, we weren't thinking about computers. So I don't expect in 2023 that you would not have people going off in the field of technology. That's a must, that's a given.
Right.
So to stand and brag that, oh, we've sent off 300 people to train as computer technicians or whatever the case is. I mean, as young people would say, or maybe used to say, Ada,
Yeah. It's a
these are
natural
things that would naturally happen.
natural progression. I totally
Yes.
agree. I totally agree with you. It's a natural progression of things. And you know, all of these things, all of this conversation, I hope that it trickles down to the guys in the rum shop, to the people walking on the street, to the people that are having conversation in the bus terminal. I hope it trickles down to them. But I don't think that is our full responsibility to keep the calm. I think governments, I think the leaders, the leader of the opposition, the prime minister, and everyone in that circle should do what they have to do to calm the temperature down. Right? I think that enough is not being done. Like I hear a lot of times, you know, you have the opposition leader come out and say a couple things. Like he mentioned about the John T situation and how we don't believe the police and it just that infuriated me because that is wiling up people, wiling up the supporters. And I don't support that. I cannot support that. And I have to speak out against stuff like that. Right? I think that the government, the leaders, they need to do more. It doesn't start with me. It absolutely does not start with me. Let's take this other call and get the closing words, guys, because we are past our time already. Caller, you live? Where are you calling us from? Hello?
Overseas.
Hello?
But hey, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I could hear. Go right ahead, caller. Where are you calling us from?
Overseas.
Oh, I'm calling you from Canada.
Canada, go right ahead.
All right. See, I'm listening to all of you guys.
Yes.
And you're saying all right things. I like it. I really do. My question is to you as a newsman, why can't you have much more of these kind of a program on a regular basis? Ordinary people can understand and maybe make a contribution to all of this. I'm listening to Adriana, and she got good points. Okay, but the St. Vincent government got the people in such a tight squeeze that they can't even begin to breathe.
Yes.
You see, government is handing out pittance. I call it pittance to them, and encouraging those people to be happy, be satisfied, and giving you something. So why don't you just shut the hell up, take what you get, and go home?
Yes.
You see, we need a similar situation. I mean, before the new government came in, I mean, I watched Heath Mitchell, and he said, "What do you want from me? You guys kept me in power for 26 years. What do you expect is going to happen? I get rich on that." Same thing in St. Vincent. Same thing in Dominica.
Right.
Okay. So it's a pervasive kind of a behavior that's floating through the place.
Yes, but Carla, let me just say this. We always have engagements for viewers to call in and voice their opinion on matters. But unfortunately, Ridealong is not a political platform. We don't only speak on politics. We have, on Fridays, we just have games. We don't talk nothing politics. People come and they share their story.
That might be true.
So we are not going to divert the platform into a political commentary program. They have enough of that out there. There are many other things that's happening in the world.
You're already in.
There are many
You're
other.
already in it. You can't change that now.
Yeah, I don't mind. We do speak about it. I do vlogs on it, but this platform has more to it than just political commentating. Like if you watch the program this past Tuesday, you saw that we had two immigration attorneys from the UK and the US, and they were speaking, and Canada, and they were speaking about how you could adjust your status in those countries. This is not a political platform like you see many other platforms. We deal with a variety of things. So although we would
Oh,
like
come
to have more
on.
of this, but we just can't. That's
You
not
can
our mantra.
you can't just dip your foot in the pool and say it didn't get wet.
Okay, I'll talk to my producer, but we certainly see the world from a bigger angle than just
True, but
political
you're doing a
commentating.
good job. I got to tell you, you're doing an awesome job.
Thank you.
And you got to keep more of this happening, because somebody needs to bring the juice out of the orange and
Yeah.
bring it out so that everybody can see.
Yes.
Right? Caribbean needs a vast change in the whole political structure. There are a few good ones,
Yes.
and I can count them on my fingers.
Yes.
But for the majority of them, they need to get kicked to the curb.
Thank you so much, caller. We appreciate you so much. All right, let's close off and let's put things into perspective. Asheida, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Rather than just having this conversation and this conversation just die off tomorrow, is there anything that we want to say that we could start and say, okay, we could start working on this and may see development in this sector in terms of bringing our people together? What do we do? Where do we go from here?
Bringing people together is a difficult task. You know why? Because of religion and politics. So that you would need to talk to other people to see how we could probably formulate some sort of a recipe as to how that can be achieved. But regarding the topic we started with and some of the things we discussed, it's important to see that the media, well, facets of the media are like politicians. So they'll tell you what to think about without telling you what to think. You see, and so sometimes we misinterpret the things we hear they say, and we do our own thing. But we have to look deeper into the things they share. So for you made mention of the opposition leader who shared his opinion on the John T's murder. Now, one in every two persons I would have engaged with regarding that, they share the opposition. The person shares the opinion of the opposition leader.
Yes.
So though he did not tell them what to think, by his sentiments, they knew what to think about. So politicians, just like the media, are very influential when they speak and when they do things. So one of the things they could do or start doing is speak the harmony or the unity that they want to see. If you keep pushing, and that's politicians across the board in Grenada, I'm referring to politicians across the board, whether you're in opposition or whether you're in government, you cannot want Hail Grenada, land of ours, with peace and unity and everything, but your agenda contradicts that.
True.
And that puts us in hot water, because we want what we want. But when you hear the politicians and the way they speak, then you wonder. You can't want to build Grenada and transform Grenada, but yet under the covers, you're pushing hate and hostility towards the people who don't support you. And if you're in opposition, you can't want to see Grenada go forward when you undermine every piece of development that could move our country forward. So it starts with us. I think we must hold. You know my stance. I believe in holding politicians accountable. And that's why I started this conversation with people. When you ask the question, I said it starts with us. We're to be blamed and we're to be held responsible. It's the things we accept as a people. And that's why sometimes we get the government or the opposition people. That's how we get them. We get the politicians we deserve based on our attitudes and how our minds are wired. So to end, Junior, I believe the politicians should lead by example, speak unity, and hope that your supporters follow suit. And we as a people, if this is what we want, then this is what we should work towards.
Perfect. Speak unity. Speak unity. Absolutely Correct. Adriana, closing words from you?
Junior, the problem that we have now, as I've said before, I think originated with our politicians, the sort of society they have created through different policies and through rhetoric. And we must never underestimate the power of words, especially when you're dealing with societies that have not been exposed to proper use of language argument, for instance, who believe that everything is right or wrong. There could never be a simple, okay, I don't see it your way, but that's all right. We have gone far, far away from that sort of thinking. But in terms of the media, even though I do not think we created the problem, we are a part of it. And so we could find ways of making things better. And what I do on my Wednesday night program, I try my best to educate Vincentians on things such as the Constitution and their basic rights, because I believe that to change a society, you must educate its citizens and you must empower them. In my own situation, I wish for people to look at me and see me as a positive example of change. Now, I have been on half pay for the past 2 years, going on 3, because of political victimization. But that doesn't stop me from doing the things that, or some of the things, sorry, not all, some of the things that I wish to do. I always say that they gave me time. So one of the things I did, I learned how to sew and I learned how to make black cake. So I'm finding ways of regaining my financial strength, because I do not wish at any point to be one of those people who feel that they must go and beg a politician for a handout, because the hand that feeds you controls you. And so for me, media must play a role to educate people, remind people about how good it is to have a spirit of community, remind people that it is okay to talk about politics. We have this way that the minute somebody speaks something political, oh, you're always talking politics. And we make politics as though, make it out to be something to avoid.
Yes.
Everything revolves around politics. The schools that you send your children to, the religion that you follow, the roads, the water, everything is a political issue. As long as it affects the state, it's a political issue. So media personnel have to see their role in reshaping the minds of those who listen.
Yes.
Because let's not ignore the fact that Asheida has her following, you have your following, I have my following. And I'm sure each of us could say that, running to people who say, I listened to you. And when you said X, Y, and Z, I really believe
Yeah.
that. So for me, bring people the truth. And I try my best to do that. Whatever I say, I also, I always try to make sure I pull up documents and I show them and say, this is what this is saying. It's not coming from me. So now you make your decision. He is saying XYZ, she is saying ABC, but here it is in black and white. This is the real truth here. This is the factual information. You decide.
Yes.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, to summarize, we did not start the problem, but we could certainly help to
Yes.
create better society.
Let me tell you, I get up in the morning, and the first thing I do before I post anything else on Facebook, I post an inspirational word to my followers, whether telling them that they are strong, they could achieve great things. It's something that I do religiously every day and in the evening. And that is geared towards motivating people. And I think if the politician get up in the morning or late at night or before anything else, they put out something positive to their followers, it would change the political climate drastically. Instead, they only comment and do commentary on their political position, whether it is advantageous for them to say something bad about the next political party, they will do that. Before they even get up and tell their followers, good morning, have a good day, they start with a political hatred and vile, idiot, just craziness all over the place. And it trickles down because a fish rotten from the head. And this organization here that we run, Ridealong Live, I want to make it a positive environment where everybody could share and everybody could feel inspired. I think politicians need to start from that perspective and preach unity, as Asheida said, unity. If not, we'll continue to maintain that separation and that divide. It doesn't start with me, but I'm trying my best to do my little part. And Asheida is doing her part, I'm sure, and I'm sure you're doing your part as well. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you. Asheida, thank you for taking the time as well.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, absolutely.
And let's stay in touch, Asheida.
Yes, I'm going to share the
Sure,
contacts.
sure.
I'm going to share the contacts. All right?
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, again, guys, it's important. It's important. Now, I hear this all the time. I get this all the time. And where people say that they speak about the biasness of this platform. But I maintain, and we maintain, that this platform is the single most and only platform that you could go through and see the range of topics that we cover from both sides. There are no other that does it like that. And I would put another call out here again, guys. I'll make another appeal out here again. We want to engage the opposition party. We do believe that you have a genuine part to play in the governance, right? You have story to tell. You have things to say. There are things that sometimes you go on your political machinery or your radio platform or your internet platform and you spew a whole set of crap. And if you really believe it, let's just sit and have a conversation on the things that you said, right? If it is true and you are firm in what you believe, let's have a conversation about it. Not just go in on a platform that is just going to throw stuff at you, that is just going to just sweeten the pot. No. And I say that on both sides. I believe that members of the government should also go on the opposition side platform. They should get invitation to go over there so that we could start, for heaven's sakes, that we start uniting back our people again. Because right now, this is what we have. We have two Grenaders. Believe it or not, we have two Grenaders. We have green and we have yellow. Most of the green, they're talking to the yellow. I know, because I have friends. That I remember during COVID, that I would call them every day and find out how they're doing. I didn't know the political affiliation. I don't care what the political affiliation was at that time. We would have been there for them in many a times. But now they feel they're on the other side of the fence. They don't even talk to me. What did I do to you? What did I do to you? I mean, it's fine to disagree with people. It's fine to not share the same ideas with people. Like, I don't like Donald Trump. And I know people who like Donald Trump. We have great conversations. We have debate, constructive debates. That's just my preference. I don't like pepper in my food. You can't force me to have pepper in my food. I don't like it. So, you can't force me to have pepper if I don't like pepper. Stop trying to force people to think like you or to be like you. If the world was like you and everybody was like you, what would the world be like? And that's why on this platform, we don't block a lot of people, Go on other platforms, they're always blocking people. They're always blocking people because they feel like they don't want opposition pushbacks. I want people to push back on me. I want people to say, nah, you're wrong. I don't want a bunch of yes people watching this platform, bunch of yes men. Oh, yeah, Junior, you're the greatest, you're the best. I don't want that. I don't want that. But still, what we get by the people who are, I think that they are being somehow, their brains are being replaced because they don't use it anymore. They are somehow replaced their brain with something else. And they are so acceptive of whatever somebody else is telling them, they don't even think. They don't even think. Their brain is mush, really. Guys, don't follow anyone blindly. Not even me. Not even me. Don't follow me blindly. If I tell you something and it doesn't sound right, you're driving on a highway, and on the right is a river, and I'm telling you turn right. You'll be like, okay, I'll turn right, end up in the river. No, don't follow me blindly. Check me on everything that I say, everything, because everything that I put out there, trust me when I tell you that it's been checked about 10 times, because we have all sorts of levels of people who would go through the process of what we do. And if I tell you something, I really firmly believe it. Now, if I tell you something and it turns out to be not right, I would be the big person and come and tell you what I said was incorrect. A lot of people don't do that. It starts with the politician to set the tone of the conversation. I'm going to do what I'm going to continue to do what I am doing. And you guys see my inspirational messages every morning. If you don't see it, you just don't like to see it because I post it every morning. Oftentimes, some people, they go ahead, like some individual posted yesterday, oh, what is this platform, downgraded itself to? Now we're talking about people eating cockroach. It wasn't about people eating cockroach. It's about content. It's about content, right? And I ain't telling people to go and eat cockroach, but that was my reaction towards the video, right? I do this content, this vlogs on a daily basis. But they forget and they neglect to go through the over 50,000 other videos that we have on this platform, ranging from summits to panel discussions to you name it, trivias, to all of this stuff. They neglect to watch this stuff. But instead, as long as they see something that doesn't tickle their fancy, they want to come against it. But let me tell you something. We are programming this for you. You are not the only person watching this platform. There are over 100,000 people that subscribe to this content. Another 20,000 that's watching this and consume this content on Fire TV, on Instagram, on Facebook. You are not the only person. I cannot program for you only. And even if I do, you wouldn't come and watch me every day. You wouldn't come back to this platform. Some of you probably come once and you never come back. So if you see something that you don't like, skip. Keep scrolling. Because I guarantee you, if you keep scrolling, you might see something that you like, but you're quick to be negative about it. Guys, check your brain. Check your brain, right? And make sure that you're not following people blindly. Just check. When somebody speaks and when somebody tells you something, even if you are loyalist to them, check them. Check them. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for watching. And I got to thank my producer, Lois JJ. She's been doing this with me for many, many, many years. She understands me like the back of my hand. Not the back of my hand, the front of my hand. She knows me very well. She knows what brings 100,000 people. She knows what brings 500 people to the platform. She knows what would make people say negative things. She knows what would make people say positive things. She knows how the feeling and the emotion of our viewers are. And that's how we program this platform, right? We're not going to give you one set of programming every day. We're going to make sure that we cater for as much people as possible. Hence the reason why sometimes you see 5,000 people watching a particular program. And we could do it again. We could have the same program that brought the 5,000 people on a Monday, a Tuesday, and a Wednesday. But are we going to do it? No, we're not. Like tomorrow? Tomorrow is the least amount of viewers that we have on Fridays. Sometimes we don't even have 100 people watching because it's Right Trivia, right? But do we do it? Yes. Do we need to do it? No. We could get much more viewers talking about somebody who raped somebody somewhere or somebody who molested somebody somewhere. We could get hundreds of thousands of people coming on and talking some drama. But do we want to do it? No. Can't happen every day. We have to program for everybody, not just one person. I said a lot, guys, so I'm not going to say any more. Good night. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you, and we're going to continue to do our job. And our job is to bring information to you. And this is, I go tap myself on the shoulder, the most versatile, non-political, non-partisan, straightforward, unbiased platform, social media right now. Yeah, I'm proud. I'm proud that we are. And we'll continue to do that. Those of you who don't see it that way, fine. I'm never going to convince you anyway. Right? Nothing that I say would convince you anyway. You're still going to make the memes. You're still going to make the lies. You're still going to make the fake pages and attack. You're still going to do it anyway. So I'm not here to convince you. And I know that you're watching. But what I'm telling you is, no matter how much you watch, no matter how much fake pages you make, no matter how much you criticize, we would only continue to grow stronger. Nothing would stop us until we're ready to stop. Thank you so much. Good night.
It's Instacash Grenada. Imagine a game with no numbers to choose from, no draws to wait on, and you can play it every day, including Sunday. That's Instacash. It's fast, it's easy to play, and you win prizes instantly. Instacash. Must be 18 years or older to play. NLA. Making dreams come true.
As we celebrate 50 years of independence,
I love my Grenada.
Made in Grenada presents the celebration of 50 years of Calypso.
Open me a little better night, honey.
One stage.
No, not so fast.
One show.
Music holding me, controlling.
Grenada's best Calypsonians performing Grenada's greatest hits.
Don't take it out.
Sunday, February 11th, 2024 at 6 p.m. sharp. Grenada National Stadium. More information coming soon.
When you did that, the Government of Grenada, through the Ministry of Finance, is continuing the rollout of its tax amnesty initiative. The amnesty provides 100% waiver of all interest and penalties on all outstanding balances up to the end of December 2021. All taxpayers with outstanding tax balances and outstanding returns to file are encouraged to take advantage of this amnesty. All tax types administered by the division are eligible for tax amnesty. For further information on the tax amnesty, please contact the Inland Revenue Division at 435-6945 or 435-6946. Email tpshelpdesk@ird.gov.gd or visit our website ird.gd. Amnesty ends December 31st.
I want you folks to play these 3 games from the NLA. Daily pick 3 cash flow and play with. You will be supporting sports and culture, nation building and our future. So go out and play, folks, make it a must. You will see what the National Lottery is doing for us. When you play pick 3 cash flow and play with, the NLA will support you all the way.
Starting September 30th, Monday to Friday, these 3 games will be drawn mid-morning, 9:45 a.m., midday, 12:45 p.m., and evenings, 7:45 p.m. The National Lotteries, supporting sports, culture, and nation building.
Sunday money.
Cathwell Stationery Services Limited announces its massive blowout sale on all stationery for school and office. Get copy paper at just $18 per ream. Enjoy up to 18% off folders, cardstock, Bristol boards, ink and toner cartridges, laptops, office furniture, and more. To order now, call 442-5848 or 5747 or call 435-3377 and get free delivery island-wide and the lowest prices nationwide. Or visit our outlet on Scott Street, St. George's, where we guarantee the lowest prices daily. Cathwell Stationery Services Limited, the reliable office supply people.
Get ready to conquer the road with Zion Driving Instructors, conveniently located at 1782 Flatbush Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We are your ticket to driving success. We are known for and specialize in the best rates for driving classes, ensuring you reach your driving goals affordably and efficiently. Our expert instructors offer personalized one-on-one training, making you a confident and skilled driver. Plus, we offer convenient 5-hour classes and various packages deal to give you even more value. Ready to take the wheel? Call us today at 718-374-5678. That's 718-374-5678. Or visit ZionDrivingInstructors.com. That's ZionDrivingInstructors.com. Zion Driving Instructors, your journey to the open road starts here. Contact us and make your driving dreams a reality. Mention this ad and get a 5% off selected package.
Ministry of Tourism and Economic Development and the Grenada Tourism Authority extend a warm welcome to visitors and returning nationals visiting for Carnival and summer vacation. We do hope you enjoy your stay with us, and we invite you to return with friends and family to celebrate our 50th anniversary of independence on 7th February 2024. Tourism is my business, your business, our business.
I want you folks to play these 3 games from the NLA. Daily pick 3 cash flow and play with. You will be supporting sports and culture, nation building and our future. So go out and play, folks, make it a must. You will see what the National Lottery is doing for us. When you play pick 3 cash flow and play with, the NLA will support you all the way.
Starting September 30th, Monday to Friday, these 3 games will be drawn mid-morning, 9:45 a.m., midday, 12:45 p.m., and evenings, 7:45 p.m. The National Lotteries, supporting sports, culture, and nation building.
Sunday money day.